What did the cheese say to the mirror?
No idea.
Halloumi.
Hi everyone and welcome to Make It Happen TV. I'm Spencer Lodge.
And I'm Lewis Allsopp, and welcome to...
The show! The show!
Oh God, he's on one. He's on one.
How you doing?
Good, mate. I've had a coffee, feeling good.
Fired up?
I'm ready. I'm ready for you.
Ready for the episode?
Yeah, and God.
Like white shirts? You like wearing white shirts?
Yeah, I do.
White shirts, what do you reckon? Are my pink shirts, my blue shirts, check shirts, are they better, or white shirts? What do you reckon? Let us know. Or maybe not.
Don't. It's the most boring subject you've got on TV.
So subscribe, please, to follow this. If you're listening on the podcast, welcome to the show. If you've got questions, if you've got stuff you'd like to learn about, then please send us messages afterwards and we'll make sure we include it in the next show. So we've talked about quite a few things over the last couple of episodes.
Yes.
How
are you?
So Chinese
Yes.
supermarket chain that opened up using augmented reality.
Yes, we've just watched the video.
Yeah, I showed you a video on it.
Yeah.
Had you heard of it before?
Never.
Okay, so just for the benefit of everyone out there, if you don't know anything about it, number one store is the direct translation of Yihaodian. And Yihaodian built virtual supermarkets across China. 1,000 of them opened literally overnight.
Yeah.
What I thought was really interesting was the fact that these virtual supermarkets, some of them they put right in front of their competitors' brick and mortar supermarkets.
Correct.
When you look at that type of technology where people literally can walk into, let's say, an open space, a car park, with their phone, and they can walk through a supermarket that's not actually there and buy their groceries,
Yeah.
and then by the time they get home, their groceries are home.
Yep.
Tell me how that's not disrupting the brick and mortar retail stores that exist.
It is, but I always revert back to when I saw you playing Pokemon Go. Do you remember that game where you'd have your virtual reality and you walking down the palm?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
was
wasn't
like,
playing
Spencer, what are you doing?
I wasn't
You don't do it anymore because it was a fad and you were addicted and whatever.
I've never played Pokemon Go.
He's a collector. But no, you use that as an example. I think that's one of the biggest games. I remember walking, I think we were in Paris and was walking through to through the high streets, and every kid, I mean everyone, and you obviously, were all walking like this with their phones, and it was the virtual reality, it was the augmented reality, which is the same as what we're talking about with this. I believe the technology, the idea, and the hype behind it is amazing. You know, for what you've explained and what I've seen, being able to, it's a digital shop. A digital shop where you put the app on and you can see everything around you like you're actually in a shop. And, you know, the idea is great, but you can do InstaShop, which is the Dubai version of online shopping. And you can click what you want. You don't need to walk around the store. Mm-hmm. I like the idea, but I think it's more PR than a concept. And we know it's had growth. You know, we've looked at the stats for it. But let's say, for instance, hypothetically, you today, you finished Pokemon Go, that's finished. And now you're back to your next thing, which is the online shopping. If you're standing in front of Carrefour and then you've got the online shop, let's say you've done it 2 or 3 times. That 4th time, surely you're like, do you know what? I want to go and touch the pack of crisps, maybe steal a crisp before I pay for it. That's what you do.
Is that what you do?
Yeah, I do.
Open a packet of Walker's cheese and onion. That tastes nice, and put that back and get another.
You go to the counter embarrassing that I've finished them. Can you scan them anyway? But no, I just think that the technology is amazing. There's no doubt about it. It's got a lot of PR. But, you know, there's 2 aspects. Technology I believe in. We talk about InstaShop, which is something that I use every day for groceries. You know, if I'm at work and I need milk, bang, you press a button, you get it. That type of technology is useful and it's very user friendly. The one we're talking about.
What are you doing with your cufflinks, scratching away
I
at
don't
me?
know. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, Emma, for goodness sake, man. Can we have someone else come do this show with us? Someone who might like Pokemon Go? I don't know if
you'd be on your own, you do a show on your own about it. But no, the tech I think is good, but it's not something that's going to be sustainable from what I can see, because you're doing the same thing with digitally.
I think it's with augmented reality. So whether you take the IKEA example,
yeah.
You know, you get your IKEA catalogue, and then you can take that product. What was that noise? Someone's phone.
It was your phone.
Was it my phone?
Yeah.
Whose phone was it?
No, it was mine.
Was it? It wasn't my phone.
In my sales team, you got to tell a joke when the phone goes off.
Really?
Yeah. What did the cheese say to the mirror?
No idea.
Halloumi.
Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? What have I done? God.
You invited me.
Oh, dear me. So you take the IKEA catalogue, the idea of being able to be in your living room and see how a piece of furniture fits.
Yep.
Do you like that idea?
Yeah, amazing.
Okay.
That works because, you know, you're utilising it in a real life scenario. You want to know if it fits, you know, how many people measure up their living room and they go through that process. That is something you can utilise into modern day and technology.
Right, so I've got my catalogue.
Yes.
I'm sat on my sofa.
Yep.
I look through augmented reality at that piece of furniture in my living room.
Yeah.
I then click and buy it. I haven't had to go to the brick and mortar store of IKEA, which nobody would want to go to anyway.
But the difference is, and this is, I don't know about you, but I get told off a lot from Georgia, because when I go to home shopping, I always sit on the sofas and want to see how comfy they are, how soft the pillows are. I always do it. I sit on every, like, it would take an hour to get around Marina Exotic. Just go sitting on all the chairs.
Do you sleep on the bed shop beds?
I've done it a few times. But you get strange looks. What are we doing?
You're as tall as you are, though. Your feet
My feet hanging out the end. But no, the concept, again, it works. But me being a buyer, I'd want to also see it at some point. If it measures up, amazing. If it looks good, amazing. But there's still going to be that reality with it as well.
Okay, we've debated technology quite a lot recently, and we're bizarrely, I would have thought a 31-year-old against a 47-year-old, the argument might have been stronger from you than it was from me. So it's been an interesting conversation to have. Let's talk about recruiting salespeople.
Yes.
I have worked in sales for many years, as you know, and most of my working career, your working career again, has been in one particular area, but still essentially sales. Yep. And I see sales in real estate being different to sales in real estate in other countries. Yeah. Here particularly, sorry. Yeah. When you recruit somebody for your business, is there a scientific process behind how you find the candidates that are going to fit into your culture? Or is it based around some kind of woolly types of things like, well, you know, they've got a good attitude, or if they demonstrate they've got a good work ethic, or they've got a track record? Do you go with simple stuff like that, or do you make it more scientific?
It's very hard to get a job with us. 1,800 CVs a month.
I phoned up yesterday and they offered me a job.
No way. But we have 1,800 CVs a month. So
hold on, 1,800 CVs are sent to you a month.
A month.
Okay, from all
the
over
UK.
From the UK.
From the UK. So obviously that's broken then down. We have our recruitment team based in the UK and the UAE, and they work for Allsopp and Allsopp. And what they would do is break that down to age, experience, sector, and then obviously then you're looking at the later stage. Once you've broken that down, we'll start sending the intro emails out. We'll look then for, when we're speaking to someone, do they do sports? Are they competitive? Have they got the right personality? Then when you get to that stage, again, are they financially stable to move to Dubai? Because it's actually quite an expensive thing to do. So there's many factors. I think there's so many. We've got, I think it's about a 15-step process for you to pass the doors in us. You know, I still get people messaging me on Facebook that I know or know of, and they're like, can you get me a job? For us, it's not that easy, because the investment and time and money we put into it, it's got to be the right person. So we do have a process, and that does range from age, financial independence, experience. The one thing that I've seen with recruitment, which is the biggest thing, I believe I'm an incredible judge of character. I believe within 5 minutes I can sort of figure out who you are. Now, what I found with recruiting is that I've spoke to amazing people, and when they get here, they're not what they should be. Some people will say what they're not on the interview, and you can't gauge someone's mentality, their attitude, if they're telling you they're amazing and they give you the stories why they've been amazing, and on paper it looks great, and you've had your Skype interview. That's a big thing we do. Every interview's on Skype, without fail. We used to do telephone interviews, and then that transitioned into Skype. And now we do road shows in the UK. So we actually go and meet them, and we go, I think we've just been to Newcastle, Manchester and London over a 3-day period. But you can't gauge someone's attitude, which is the big thing. You know, what are they like when they're actually in the office, when they've had a bad day? How do they react? So I don't think there's a real formula. You've just got to be able to judge someone's character.
They say on average a CV is read for 8 seconds.
Yeah.
So CVs generally aren't going to be true representations of people, because they're not going to talk about when they got fired.
Yep.
They're not going to talk about where they failed. They're only going to talk about the things that are positive about them.
Yes.
The number one most used word
Yep.
on LinkedIn when someone describes themselves, okay, do you know what that word is?
Is it 2 words or 1 word?
It's 1 word.
Don't know, you tell me.
Motivated.
Wow, okay.
It's the number one used word on LinkedIn.
Hard working's got to be second for 2 words, doesn't it?
A motivated
hard working.
And when you consider the crap that a lot of people write on their CVs, you consider the fact that nobody's going to be saying anything about themselves on a LinkedIn profile that's anything other than positive.
Yeah.
How do you go from there? You say you do a Skype interview. How long does a Skype interview last?
25, 30 minutes. We have 2, and then we have a 3rd round. So you meet one recruiter, then it goes to the head of HR, and then normally they go to a branch manager to make the decision on them. But the 3rd one generally is, we like them. We think unless you spot something that you really don't like, then, go ahead with them.
Okay, so 2 proper interviews then on Skype.
Yeah.
And those 2 proper interviews, people are typically selling themselves. They're trying to present the best version of themselves. Correct. A lot of people have worked hard to be able to interview well.
Yeah.
But how do you go about measuring attitude, work ethic? Do you, with people that have got experience, do you require a demonstrable example of results?
Not really. There's not a lot. There's no real way to gauge it. I mean, if I was interviewing you today, I'm not going to go, all right, Spence, I got sacked when I was 16 for being hungover, and then I didn't turn into work, and then list all the bad things. You avoid it. You avoid them conversations. Obviously, you will ask, what are your weaknesses, but again, who's going to tell you their weaknesses? The standard one I get is, I work too hard. I work too hard. That's my weakness.
Yeah.
I am too dedicated.
Too loyal. Too loyal for my own good.
I've got this job off from another company, but I am too loyal. So no, you do get all of that. Honestly, it goes back to the same thing that I talk about. It's people. You've got to be able to read a person. I still get it wrong, and my recruitment team still get it wrong. But there's no magic. Anyone that's ever got it right, sales is always going to be a high turnover of staff, because someone can tell you they'll be amazing, they'll tell you they'll do X, Y, and Z, but if they're not doing the numbers or they moan, you can't. Do you moan on an interview? No. Okay, you don't moan. Then they get here and they moan. How do you stop that?
So what's more important, their results or their success results, or their ability to fit into the culture? What's more important to you?
If someone was billing big numbers for me and they didn't fit into the culture or didn't work the way that I need them to work, then they wouldn't be with me.
Okay.
No one, they say it in football, you watch Alex Ferguson. Alex Ferguson will openly say he's got rid of Beckham, he's got rid of many superstars across the time because they didn't fit into the way they wanted to play. No one's bigger than the club, and no one's bigger than the company. And, if you take that individual person's turnover as a figure against the companies, is minuscule. So you've got to protect the business. The business is the biggest thing. So I've made big decisions myself before where people that have been big hitters for the company, I said, unfortunately, it's not working. There's a guy that's literally just called me, it's funny you said this, last week, and he's moved back to Dubai. And when we first set up, he was amazing. Anyway, ended up not working together, and I spoke to him on the phone. He said, I just want to say hello, I'm back in Dubai. And he said, I said, I'm just interested in this. I said, why didn't you call me? I just always want to know why people didn't call. He said, I knew I didn't fit into your company no matter what money I brought in. I knew that if I don't work your way, then there is no position for me. So that's my theory. My theory is that I'd rather 100 average agents that believe in the company's goal and believe in my goal. And when I ask people to do the call outs or the positivity, I want that. I don't want one person that can bring in money. And, we're not a one-man company. We are a strong army of people, and everyone has to be marching in the same direction.
Now, for all of the other nationalities out there on the planet, excluding the Brits, which is a lot, you focus on recruiting British people. Do you do that purposely? Is there like a real reason for it? Are Brits better than Americans or Aussies or South Africans or other nationalities?
Not at all. We have a UK agency. We have our recruitment model is based for recruiting in the UK. So all of our recruiters are based on UK portals. So you read all the major UK portals. That's where we advertise.
Monsters,
it's just a place.
Reads, all those kind of places,
We go there. The UK people are based there. They come to us. It's just ended up being that way. we've still got other nationalities. We've got Moroccan, we've got Philippine, we've got African, we've got all sorts of nationalities. So that nationality is not a big thing for us. Isn't it? We would take anyone that has the right attitude. But where we advertise for recruitment is the UK. But yeah, I do get that a lot. I'll get, what, you only employ British? It's not at all the case. If someone come to me today with a willing attitude, and I knew that they did the job, I knew they could produce, there's no doubt about it, they'll get a job.
I heard a criticism that was aimed against you by one of your competitors a
lot
while
of
ago. I couldn't possibly share some of them. No, there's one criticism I heard is that you don't like to employ female agents.
No, it's not right.
Okay.
So in 2009, my best agent was a female agent. My HR director was one of my best lettings agents, is now my HR director. One of the best agents in Marina, a girl called Julie, has been with me 6 years.
So that's just gossip.
Listen, I'd rather hear that because it's best to be talked about than not talked about.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I could literally reel off from my office manager is been me 9 years, who's a lady. There's so many women in my company that are very successful at what they do. So there's no prejudice at all towards anyone. It is, if you're good at the job, you're good at the job. I have no interest in what gender or nationality you are. If you fit into our age range, our work rate, our financial capabilities, the mentality, if you fit all of that, there's no question about it.
And what percentage of your sales force come from within the industry over here in the Middle East?
We don't recruit generally from inside of the UAE. So we will not go and speak to another real estate company. What you'll find is a lot of real estate companies want our staff, but we don't want anyone else's staff. We've employed staff from other companies, but when they've left or they've come to us, we don't actively go and approach staff because I'm of the opinion that I'd rather bring someone in fresh and show them how we want things done and train them our way because we have a process and procedure that we follow. Now, if we took someone from XYZ real estate, they're coming in and be like, oh, hang on a minute, this is not the way I've done it 5 years ago. But your way hasn't worked for whatever reason because your company isn't number one, or you're not. If you're coming to me, then something's not right for you. So you have to follow what we ask you to do, and if you follow our formula, you'll see the end product is the success that we've had. So yeah, we don't recruit internally from the UAE at all.
Okay. And when you think about you being a good judge of character, and you talk about you sometimes getting it wrong.
Yes.
What, if you can share this, is your staff turnover typically? So what percentage do you retain and what percentage on average do you lose over let's say a 12-month period?
Lettings is always going to be high. So how our business is set up, you've got your lettings agent, which in football terms is your under 21s, your youth academy. So whatever age you are, whatever background you have, if you're new to Dubai and you're new to real estate, we'll put you in lettings. There's a theory and a method behind that madness is that, let's say we use the Palm as an example. You go into the Palm with the process of going in to be a Palm sales agent in a year's time, 18 months, whatever it may be. And when you do that transition, if you succeed from lettings, what you'll find is that you end up knowing the Palm straight away. So you can talk about Signature Villa, Palm Village, you can talk about all the apartments. But when you go out to lettings is tough. It's instant, wham, bam, thank you, man. If you don't succeed that month, then you have no money because it's literally, you have to make money. There's no negotiation. Sales is a long-term thing. So if you take sales, for example, we probably lose on average 3 to 5% of our staff on sales a year. If you're successful at our business, you don't leave. It's as simple as that because it's what I call the golden handcuffs. You're tied in because your pipeline follows us. And more importantly, there's nowhere else to go. No one does the marketing and everything that we do. And the amount of money that they're making, they don't leave. So you talk about your Julia Ferrari, who's been with me 5 years. She's not left because obviously she's a loyal girl. She's good at a job, but she has a pipeline. So there's a mixture of many reasons why they don't leave. And the company just works. But lettings, their job is to do really well in lettings to transition to sales. So
let's get to the numbers here then. So what percentage of lettings typically is retained and turned over?
I would say you produce 40 to 50% of lettings a year.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a big number.
Yeah. It's I always say this when I go and meet staff, because you're not going to have people that come over will not fail because of us. Okay, and I go back to the recruitment policy. People will fail because they don't come over and they'll tell you, I'm going to do well, I'm going to work hard. I had a group of people that come in, new recruits last month. So we had 10 recruits last month. So you meet them. It was 2 months ago, and I said, look, we're coming over. You start a Christmas, not holiday. We'll train you. We'll get you up and running. So within the first week, these guys were out clubbing, and they're at the brunches, and they're spending their money. And I've watched them tagged in photos on tables in clubs. And I'm like, what are you doing? You've been here a week. And they get caught in that cycle where they unfortunately think they're on holiday. So when you're recruiting people, no matter what industry you're in, there's so many variants. Your variants could range from your girlfriend doesn't like Dubai, your boyfriend doesn't like Dubai, they don't like the industry, they don't like the office, they don't like the heat, they'd miss their family. I have seen everything you can imagine, drink driving, you name it, the visa's been rejected for whatever reason. So when you take all this into one cocktail, you're always going to have a high turnover. In the UK, our turnover is very low. Why? Because people live in England, they live in Coventry, and when they take a job, they live there already, they're comfortable, they've got their friends, they know what they're moving into. Dubai is a city where people are moving over to, and when they're moving over, they either succeed or they don't. And that's when, if they succeed, they're in sales. If they don't, unfortunately, it's not for them, and they'll either get a new job in Dubai, which is great, I'm happy we've been part of that journey, or they go on and change their lives and making amazing money working for us also.
Do you get criticism online?
Oh yeah, we've had it.
Is it typically from ex-employees?
Oh my God, yeah. What we've done recently is there's a review system called Trustpilot.
Yeah.
So Trustpilot, we've just signed up to them. It's very expensive to sign up to, but we want to show people what service we offer. Now, if you look on Trustpilot today, we've been going a week. We've got 100 5-star reviews in a week. And we've got nothing below 4-star. And there's no prejudice. We send it out to everyone to say, let us know. We want to know. If there's a 1-star, I want to know. Because if I know that review, I want to know what I did wrong and how I fix it for the next time. Because I don't want our customers to have bad service. So we do have, I remember looking before, and you can Google it, and there's one, to some extent, I don't know what it was called. It was a forum about real estate.
Glassdoor, is it, maybe?
I don't know what it was called. The board or something like that. And someone was taught, there was this one guy put an Arab name on. He was like, they rob money from me. And I was like, well, who is this person? Anyway, we tracked it back and we found out that it's an ex-employee that had done it. So you can trace the IP address back to where it come from. So you're always going to have these people, unfortunately, you're going to moan. No matter what industry you're in. I've worked with people from Google that have complained about Apple. I've had people that work at audit companies complaining about other audit companies. So people are always going to complain. And unfortunately, that goes back to my big theory. I'm not a blamer. If something doesn't work in my business, I will fix it. But people that fail in real estate, take that as an example, they're blamers. So let's say if you take Allsopp out of the equation, so they're going to work for number 2 real estate company in Dubai, whoever that may be. If that doesn't work, they'll come and knock on my door and they'll blame the second real estate company. But I already know, it's the reason I won't employ them. If they've not made it in number 2, that's because of them. I can't train success. I can't train work rate. You can succeed as an individual in any real estate company.
Hold on a minute. You can't train success and you can't train work rate.
You can train technique, 100%. You can train techniques. You can train sales techniques, 100%. What I don't think you can do is if someone is not got the desire to be successful and they're not willing to work on the weekends and they're not willing to come on a Friday and Saturday and skip the brunches, skip the clubs, go through that sacrifices, they're not willing to make sure that they're the number 1 person before they leave the office on calls, viewings, whatever it may be. If they can't do that, technique means nothing. So you can't train that. That's someone's desire. I'll give you the perfect example. Going back to my little brother that's over at the moment. We're on the cross trainer yesterday. So I'm on the cross trainer. I said, let's just do 500 calories, me and you. I get 500 calories. He's at 300. I'm quitting. I said, you are not quitting. I'm not letting this mentality. You will finish this 500. Okay, I'll finish it. Got through it, finished it. And that's the difference between, you put that in real estate terms or job terms. How many people get to that 300 calories and go, this ain't for me, that ain't for me. But if they took the extra step.
Yeah, I get that. But there's people out there. Okay, you take the person that smokes cigarettes and he sits down with the doctor, okay, and the doctor says, 1 more cigarette, okay, and you're going to die, okay? So there's an easy decision to be made all of a sudden, which happens to a lot of people. People go through sometimes life-changing experiences that literally means they see the world differently very quickly. And sometimes people, particularly young people, which is the predominant numbers of you employees, youngish people, isn't it, in their 20s mainly?
Is it mid-20s, early 30s?
Okay, mid-20s, early young people to me.
Yeah, it's young to you, yeah.
A lot of those people don't necessarily know enough about success and maybe have not had success would love it.
Of course.
I've never been taught the steps involved to having a successful career.
That's the difference. When anyone joins our company, within this, the tier of management we have ranges from myself, my brother, the sales managers. We have a HR director, operations director, training and development director. All of these people will sit down and we will give you exact structure. I will come in on the first day and say to you, this is what you don't do, this is what you don't do, this is what you do. Then, and I found that funny.
I'm going to write it down. This is what you do.
I want another joke.
But so we meet these staff and we tell them. So I can understand when someone says, do you know what, I've not tasted success. But when I was 19, I didn't taste success. These people like yourself, you didn't taste success before you had it, but you've done what you need to do to become successful. I've met people that unfortunately haven't done what they need to do to become successful. They want it, they talk about it. It's like someone going, I want a six-pack, but they won't go to the gym and they won't moan, but they'll moan they've got a six-pack. I don't like moaners. For me, if I have a problem in life, anything, work, whatever it is, I'm still a bit old school. I write it in my diary what the problem is, and I write the solution next to it, and I will deal with that. Too many people in this world, not just in real estate, moan about something and they know the solution. I can guarantee you go to my office today and they say, oh, I've got no listings. The first question I ask them is, do you know what the solution is? Yeah, this is what you do. And they know it already, but they need that kick up the arse, whatever reason it may be. So I don't believe at all for 1 second there's anything to do with technique. People don't have the desire. If they don't have the desire in sales, as I said to you previously, they shouldn't be doing it. Sales is a unique environment where you can make an incredible amount of money. You can make 10, 15, 20 times more money than anyone else can make in a normal job. But the risk with that is that if you're not very good at it and you don't work hard and whatever, and you make nothing. That's the double-edged sword to sales.
So you're saying you can't teach desire?
No, no way.
No matter what?
No matter what. You can be technically amazing, but let me tell you now, when it comes down to you paying the bills, and I've been there myself, and I know that the 30th of them, I remember when I first set the company up, I had a black Range Rover. That's the only asset that I had, so I was 21. And I remember looking at the salaries and going, oh my God, I owed £50,000 in salaries and had 42 grand in the bank, sterling. So I can't pay. I cannot pay. So I told my brother, I said, I'm going to have to sell the Range Rover. And I made a decision. I said, I can't sell the Range Rover. So sell that. People know what's going on. I can't turn up the next day in a Nissan Tiida or whatever it may be. So I had a decision to make myself at that point. Do you A, say, right, it's time to just call it quits, or do you B? And do you know what I did? I stayed. Honestly, I stayed every night at 10, 11 o'clock. I was coming home knackered, and I went out, did viewers, and I did deals. I made money for that company, our company, and I remember that story. And I remember having a guy in my car, and I said, right, do you want to buy this? And he made the offer, and I said, come with me, you got to get in the car. I drove him to the office, closed it at like 9 o'clock at night, and I tell you what, the satisfaction you get from doing something like that. And then I meet people that say to me, oh no, this is not a good market, or they'll blame it's desire, and you can't train that, and that's what you can't do on interviews.
It's interesting that you have that point of view. I think there's lots of stuff relating to attitude you can't always train. I think there's a difference between a really successful entrepreneur and a successful salesperson. Yeah. I don't think they're the same animal. A successful entrepreneur is looking at a business differently to a salesperson.
Yes.
And so an entrepreneur is essentially a loner.
Yeah.
All right. It's actually a difficult place to be for a lot of people, and that's why the majority of people being entrepreneurs just can't be. I hate the way that it's bandied around. Yeah. That word is just kind of like everyone says it. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur.
What do you do? LinkedIn property/entrepreneur.
Yeah. It's like, what a load of old bollocks. Most people that use the term entrepreneur, I mean, even people that are in like network marketing will go, I'm an entrepreneur. And it's like, no, you're a small business owner. That's
Which is not a bad thing.
No, nothing wrong with being a small business owner.
Like you said with entrepreneur, I've seen it myself. I don't call myself an entrepreneur. I work in real estate and I try and innovate. But one of the big things about being a CEO, and you probably know this yourself, is a lonely place. You know, if it goes right, you don't get the thanks anyway. No one will say, wow, the company's done great, well done, Lewis. But if it goes bad, everyone's blaming you.
Your shit, yeah.
And you know, out of work, you've got to differentiate between employees and employer. So you don't have that. So it is a lonely place. And no matter what anyone says, an entrepreneur is a very difficult job because you need to be mentally very, very strong to do that job.
A small business owner is a lonely place as well.
Of course.
So they have some of the same issues to deal with.
Yeah.
A direct salesperson gets the benefit of environment.
Agree.
And you often see a lot of these direct salespeople that leave and try and set a business up.
Yeah.
They think, you know what, I'm only getting X percentage of the gross commission. I could get that all myself if I did it myself. Yet they don't have the tools, the skills, and the knowledge that are required. You know, some people, you know, have never even rented an office or decorated an office or bought office furniture, let alone.
And then they're working out the costs at the end and going, hang on, I've got to pay rent and mark. What?
The one that I find the funniest, because again, I talk to lots of companies, is that the amount of companies and businesses out there that exist with multiple numbers of staff that don't even have a business plan.
It's crazy.
Like not even a written business plan, not from the get-go. They had an idea, we were going to employ X amount of people, we're going to bring X revenue in, okay, without a strategy to getting it, based upon previous experience they had and nothing more.
Yeah.
And they wonder why. Why they struggle.
This goes back to the basic stuff that I teach people in the office. I still do it now. I have a weird thing I said to people about writing things down. So the first thing I do in the morning, every morning, and I tell all my agents to do it, write down your goals for the day. If you're in a estate agency and you want to take on listings or you want to take on viewings, you want to call a property and tell clients about it, write it. And I've got this thing where I do not leave my office until I've got a tick next to everyone. I don't care what time it is. Them ticks are not done. I do not leave. And that's what people don't do when you break down to a business plan. People do open an office and go, right, what do we do now then? What do we do? And to be honest with you, I remember when I set my office up the first one, I said, I writ the business plan. It's way off. Trust me, it was way off. I thought I was going to be a millionaire in literally a week. I remember going, right, so this is exactly how much I'm going to make. And then it got, it's not exactly like that. But I had a goal. And then you adjust your goal and you move forward with it. And a lot of people do. You're right. They see what, let's say, we do. And they go, right, we're going to copy a bit of that. And then once we get to that level, we'll see what happens. And then, like you're seeing at the moment in the property market, how many companies are here? There's us. There's probably Better Homes, who I respect. They've been there a long time. And below that, there was a lot of smaller companies because none of them businesses have done what we've done. We've chased the bigger companies and I've took risks, which I said before about risks in business. But there's a lot of companies below that that just don't have a business model. They've either got a big logo, which we know they are, and they've got no structure. What they'll do is go and employ the experienced agents. They're going to do that. That won't work because they've got no structure. Or they're small companies with no structure. But either way, you can see there's no goals, no structure, and that's why they've not gone to that better level.
You talked a minute ago about having a list of things to do every day. As far as I'm concerned, the way that it has to be is that if I'm a salesperson and I want to achieve X amount of income or success this year in 2018, I'll write that number down and then I'll break that number down into essentially quarterly, monthly, weekly, and then daily amounts. So let's say that, I don't know, $240,000 I want to earn, that ends up being $20,000 a month, ends up being $5,000 a week, ends up being $1,000 a day. Right. So what do I need to do to find $1,000 a day? Let's say I get on average $500 per sale. That's 2 sales I've got to make today. Right. How many prospects do I need to see to do 2 sales? Okay. I need to see 4 prospects for 1 sale. Okay. So it's 8 prospects for 2 sales. Like I said, 8 prospects today. How many suspects?
We've read the same book.
Yeah.
We've read the same book.
But this is what I've done for 25 years. Yeah. And so that when I get up in the morning, I know, I don't think, I don't hope, I don't wish. I know what I need to do today to get my result. Yeah. So if you're a real estate broker, maybe that's I need to do 4 viewings every day. So
26 viewings is a viewing to sale average. That's what you need to know. 26 viewings is how many viewings you need to do a transaction in sales.
1 sale?
1 sale.
Okay, so that means if I wanted to make 1 sale a week, I'd need to do 26 viewings in a week.
Yeah.
So over a 5-day week, okay, it's 5 viewings a day roughly.
Yeah, exactly.
So if I did 5 viewings a day, I'd make 1 sale a week.
Exactly.
Okay, that's the average of your business.
Yeah.
Okay, it might be a bit more or a bit less with other businesses.
A bit more.
Okay. There you go. Ego just came out then for that guy that complained. He has got an ego, you're right. But it might be more, it might be less. Whether it's 20 or 30, doesn't matter. If you know that, how easy is it to make a sale a week?
But this is the thing. It all comes from the top. I'd love to question how many companies in Dubai, just as an example, know what their viewing to sale ratio is. How can you not tell your individual staff, hey, listen, you've not hit your 5 viewings today. You're not doing a deal at the end of the month. Simple as that. But these agents are not told that. So it goes back to saying, if they're not told it from management, then you've got a problem.
Yeah, I agree. Do you think that most salespeople, this is not new. What we just talked about here is not rocket science.
We didn't invent it. We were taught it.
We were taught it. I was taught it many years ago. You were taught it many years ago. And it's very simple to understand. It's not complicated.
Yep.
If it's so easy, why don't people do it?
Desire, passion, it's the same thing.
Is it desire or passion?
Yeah.
I think there's more to it.
Why?
Because if they don't do it, okay, some people haven't been taught it.
But what if they have been taught? That's my problem.
Okay, so the ones that have been taught it, this is what happens with a lot of salespeople.
Yes.
They've got memories like goldfishes.
Agreed.
So they forget a lot of the time. And I've got first-hand of experience of this at teaching people to sell. And you teach people as well in your company. I can teach people how to do something.
Yep.
Okay. I spend a day teaching them.
Yes.
They'll retain 10 or 20% of what I taught.
Yep.
And so 80%, which might be the good stuff,
Yep.
it might be the admin stuff, who knows, but 80% they'll forget. And teaching people stuff is like writing in the snow. Hence the reason the university's got an online product with all the videos there so that people can go over and watch it again and again and again. I think lots of guys that run businesses that are trying to teach their staff, have them teach them at the beginning once or twice.
Yeah.
You know, some people say, well, we do a 5-day course when new starters come in and we teach them for 5 days.
We do that.
Okay, but after those 5 days, how do you know, okay, what they know at the end of those 5 days? Okay,
this is the difference. So with our company, I've spotted all of these problems, or there's problems that I've seen from day one. If you go back to basics, if you take sales out of the equation, we had a lettings issue, and we used to take, this go back 6-7 years ago, agents were taking deposits, agreeing their rentals, but they're not picking the phone up. Once the tenant was going, what's going on property? That phone would not get picked up from the agent. So that solution for the business from our point of view was we brought in a customer service agent. As soon as we do a transaction for a lease, it goes to this person called Brooklyn, and she will deal with everything to do with the transaction. Hey, how you doing? You want your curtains fitting? You want to know about your white goods? Whatever it may be. That's that. Now, the business aspect that I spotted in real estate in Dubai, which we've dealt with, is we now have a training and development director who was a year. Ex-estate agents, 20 years background, very, very knowledgeable. So the same problem, we were recruiting staff, telling them the 5-day course, and then we would do the weekly catch-ups, and we'll go through things, but I'm a big believer in ongoing training. So what we do on a Sunday is we will identify people that have had a bad week, for whatever reason it may be, whether they've done deals, but they've not done their KPIs, so they've not booked the viewings, have not took listings on. So what we will do is we will sit down with myself and Rob, who's the training director, and say, right, you tell me, these are the 5 people. This guy hasn't booked enough viewings. I know the answer, it's not rocket science. So we will sit down and say, Rob, this guy needs training on how to book viewings. Basically, X, Y, and Z, call a property out, call all of our clients. Hey, Spencer, did you know we've got a new listing that matches your criteria on price, budget, whatever it may be? Would you like to view it? Yes, I do. Okay, this guy last week forgot how to do that. So we will re-implement that factor into him. But people don't do that in Dubai, because it is expensive to do. To have someone good doing that is not cheap, but there's a massive benefactor to us as a business.
Teach, monitor, measure. This is where so many companies get it wrong. It's like they'll teach it and then they'll try and measure it, but they're not doing the bit in the middle. And it's the same. Well, it's the same as all of us when we learned something at school, you know?
Correct.
You know, remember that teacher that used to have the blackboard in my day? I'm sure whiteboard in your day.
I didn't go into the classes.
Too busy telling jokes outside. But the teacher would be busy writing on the board.
Yeah.
Okay, and you'd be copying down what they were writing about, I don't know, some historical facts in your history lesson.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of us remember the kind of the chemistry and the physics lessons far better, because we used to sit in a classroom and there'd be a practical experience and you'd learn by doing how something happened. Teaching in a classroom isn't always the best way to teach people.
Correct.
How much support do you think a new salesperson should get over the course of the first, let's say, 6 months of their journey in terms of –
Uh, 'cause- uh, 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 uh it's a double-edged sword because you have to let them sink or swim to a degree. You can't mother them. I don't believe in mothering them. I think personally a weekly review and maybe every couple of days a 5-minute catch-up to see how they get on if someone's not on target. But that weekly review, you'll go through their KPIs. Are they hitting it? What's the problems? If they're not getting properties on their books, why are they not getting properties on? Let's show you how you do it. So you sit down once a week with the new staff, set them targets, review at the end of the week how they've got on. If they haven't done it, why haven't they done it? If we really need them to do it, I don't normally do it, and it's very rare I've done it, but if you think they're going to fail, come on a Saturday. If they won't come on a Saturday, what are they doing in Dubai? Why are they in the job that they're in? So it goes back to, yes, reviewing what they've done, but I would say on a weekly basis, an absolute minimum to check their activity and then following up every day.
Agreed. Okay, end of an episode.
Yep.
Good talking.
Well, do we end on a joke or not?
Do you have another joke?
Yeah, please.
Give us another joke.
Okay, right. So, why did the Mexican poison his wife?
No idea. Why did the Mexican poison his wife?
Tequila.
Shocking. Right, guys. If you got any bad jokes, by the way, send them in too. Nice to talk to you, Luke.
Thank you.
Right, guys. See you soon. Make it happen.